Welcome to the Manila Bulletin Daily Rundown, where we bring you the latest stories that matter to Filipinos straight from the heart of the Manila Bulletin newsroom. Here's the quick rundown of today's top stories, Friday, November 8th. President Marcos signs laws reaffirming Philippines' rights over maritime zones. President Marcos signed into law on Friday, November 8th, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act and the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, two measures that aim to protect the country's sovereignty and jurisdiction in its waters. Republic Act No. 12064, or the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, declares the Philippine sovereignty and defines sovereign rights over the maximum extent of its maritime zones, such as internal waters, archipelagic waters, territorial sea, contiguous zones, exclusive economic zones, and continental shelf in compliance with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, existing laws and treaties. Meanwhile, Republic Act No. 12065, or the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, ensures the protection of the country's sovereignty and maritime domain by designating the routes and areas that shall be utilized and accessed by foreign military vessels and foreign registered aircraft for passage under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the Chicago Convention. Marce to exit the Philippine area of responsibility soon, but signal number 2 still up. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration said Typhoon Marce is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility by Friday afternoon or evening on November 8th. As of 10 a.m. earlier, the center of the typhoon was located 165 kilometers west of Laoag City, Ilocos Norte, with maximum sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour and gusts reaching 170 kilometers per hour. The Department of Education welcomes the Senate approval of 793.74 billion pesos budget for 2025. Under the General Appropriations Bill, the Department of Education and its attached agencies will receive an allocation of 793 billion pesos, reflecting a 3.99% increase from the agency's budget in the 2024 General Appropriations Act. The Department of Education noted that the approved budget will support its 5-point agenda under Secretary Sonny Angara. According to the Education Department, this agenda aligns with President Marcos's directives, broadly covering the creation of a conducive learning environment, efficient learning delivery, teacher upskilling, student employability preparation, and achievement level improvement. Following the Senate plenary hearing, the Department of Education said its 2025 budget will proceed to bicameral deliberations before final approval by the President. The Philippines to push for new climate finance goals at the 29th Conference of the Parties. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary, Maria Antonia Tony Yulo Loizaga, is set to lead the Philippine delegation to the 29th Conference of the Parties in Baku, Azerbaijan, where she will advocate for increased climate finance to support vulnerable nations. In a statement on Friday, November 8th, Loizaga expressed cautious optimism about the Philippine delegation's role at the 29th Conference of the Parties, noting the need to advance global commitments and set a new climate finance target for 2025 and beyond. The COP29, according to Loizaga, must also integrate multiple international commitments, including the Paris Agreement, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Plastics Treaty, as these are inextricably linked and require coordinated political action. Philippines banks on agriculture to salvage growth target. Following the lower-than-expected third-quarter growth, the Department of Budget and Management said it will prioritize agriculture and climate action to foster stronger economic growth in the year's final 3 months. Pangandaman also noted that government spending grew by 5% in the third quarter, following a double-digit 11.9% increase in the previous quarter and a 6.7% rise from the same period last year. Therefore, the government will focus on budget strategies that promote infrastructure, human capital development, and improved access to services, including transportation, healthcare, and higher salaries for government workers. Donald Trump promises to bring lasting peace to a tumultuous Middle East, but fixing it won't be easy. Donald Trump will return to the United States presidency at a time of unprecedented conflict and uncertainty in the Middle East. He has vowed to fix it. But Trump's history of strong support for Israel, coupled with his insistence during the campaign that the war in Gaza should end quickly, the isolationist forces in the Republican Party, and his penchant for unpredictability raise a mountain of questions over how his second presidency will affect the region at this pivotal moment. Barring the achievement of elusive ceasefires before the inauguration, Trump will ascend to the highest office in the country as a brutal war in Gaza still rages, and Israel presses its offensive against the Lebanese Hezbollah militant group. A conflagration between Iran and Israel shows no signs of abating, nor do Israel's conflicts with Iranian proxies in Iraq and Yemen. And Iran's nuclear program remains a top concern for Israel. Argentine prosecutors charged 3 people linked to the death of former One Direction star Liam Payne. 3 people have been charged in connection with the death of Liam Payne, a former member of musical group One Direction who died after falling from the balcony of his hotel room in Buenos Aires last month. Argentine prosecutors said. Prosecutor Andres Madrea charged the 3 suspects, whose identities were not revealed, with the crimes of abandonment of a person followed by death and supplying and facilitating the use of narcotics, the prosecutor's office said. Madrea also requested their arrest to Judge Laura Brunard, who ruled the 3 cannot leave the country. Stay updated with the latest news. Visit our website at www.mb.com.ph or follow us on social media. Thanks for tuning in to the Manila Bulletin Daily Rundown.